Do you have good girl or nice guy syndrome? Are you always afraid of offending others or speaking up? Here's the deal. No one likes a jerk, but there's a difference between blatant hostility and being assertive. And if you're going to protect yourself from narcissistic abuse, you need to learn how to master the latter. And this is because narcissists and other energy vampires, unfortunately, are very skilled at using emotional blackmail to make it look like you're to blame for the problems in the relationship. Any alarm bells or gut feelings that you have that something is off about their behavior will be spun to make it look like you're just being overly sensitive, or it's all in your head. Women specifically have historically been conditioned to apologize and dance around everyone's feelings so that they appear pleasant and agreeable at all times. And I know even for myself, with my own experience, that trying to maintain the peace at all costs, so to speak, even though my psychological boundaries were repeatedly being violated, led to a lot of resentment and repressed anger. So, likewise, my purpose in making this video is to help you tune into your inner pressure gauge, so to speak, long before you reach your boiling point. In this video, I've compiled 4 deal breakers in love, friendships, and yes, family relationships too. This specifically is very important because we have been trained as a society to give family a pass for behaviors that we would never accept from a stranger, just because we happen to share the same DNA. Instead, these are 4 deal breakers or toxic behaviors that are unacceptable in any relationship. Deal breaker 1, insults and mocking. Playful teasing is one thing, so long as the other person's sense of humor doesn't leave you feeling bad about yourself. But being intentionally hurtful or condescending to keep you in your place is never okay. A good rule of thumb is to pay attention to how you feel, not necessarily what the other person is saying. A backhanded compliment, for instance, may sound flattering on the surface, when in reality it actually carries an undercurrent of resentment and jealousy. And if the other person is always accusing you of being too sensitive when you confront them and you're sincere with your feelings, like, hey man, that's not cool, don't talk to me that way, this is another major red flag that they're disrespecting you under the guise of joking around. Deal breaker 2, superiority complex. How does the other person treat waitstaff or customer service? Do they look down on others with less money or education? While I'm in no way suggesting a person should be ashamed or apologize for their intelligence or their accomplishments, a narcissistic individual will leverage their privilege or social capital in a way to make others feel inferior. But what is often the case is the narcissist is so unbearably insecure, or for the sake of argument, what you would call a nobody, and the fact that they have nothing to contribute to the relationship, they will still behave in a way that's rude or entitled. An individual with healthy self-esteem, on the other hand, can think highly of themselves without looking down on others in the process. Bottom line, if you have to look a certain way or maintain a certain social status to be worthy of their company, you may want to reassess your loyalties. Deal breaker 3, control issues. No matter what your relationship is to the other person, you should always feel safe or relaxed in their presence. If you feel like you're always on edge or like you have to walk on eggshells, take this as a clue that all is not well. Even if the other person hasn't made any overt threats, how do they respond when you express an opinion that's different than theirs? Do they blow up or try to shut you down? Do they tell you who you can speak to or try to isolate you from family and friends? Maybe the issue you're having isn't with a partner or a friend, but your parents. Do they ask really inappropriate questions or try to get into your personal business even though you're a grown adult? And by the way, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a healthy, caring, mutually respectful relationship with your parents. But a parent who doesn't respect your autonomy will try to control your social life, your finances, maybe even who you can date or marry. They may even inappropriately insert themselves into your marriage, giving you unsolicited advice, or expecting you to choose between them and your spouse. Basically, if you're not allowed to have your own space, beliefs, or opinions without consequences, the other person has some serious control issues, and you need to get away and protect yourself in time before things escalate or before you lose all sense of personal identity. Deal breaker 4, you always apologize. It starts slowly and subtly. You're having a good time with the other person for a while, and then you hit a snag. Maybe you have an argument or two, and regardless of who is in the wrong, you end up apologizing each time just to make peace and move on. Or maybe you have a family member or friend who seems to have a talent for always drumming up some kind of drama or conflict, and somehow you end up walking away as the bad guy every time. This is no coincidence. The other person is using gaslighting to make you second guess yourself so that they never have to take responsibility for their hurtful words or actions. I think it's safe to say that most of us would apologize in the event that we legitimately hurt someone, made a mistake, or said something that we regret in the heat of the moment, which I think we've all done. Like I'm gonna give you credit that you're a reasonable, decent person who would apologize. But if you find that you are excessively apologizing when no apology is due, acknowledge what's happening, stop apologizing, and cut your losses, because it's not gonna get any better. Look, no relationship is perfect, but dignity and respect is the minimum. And if you can't talk to or interact with the other person without them belittling you, insulting you, mocking you, threatening you, guilting you for something, it's time to walk away. These consistent patterns of emotional blackmail or mistreatment signal deeper issues that are not within your power to resolve. And even though it might be really difficult in the beginning to stand up for yourself, the more you make a habit of this, a practice of rejecting these toxic behaviors and drawing the line in the sand, the more your confidence will grow over time. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, found it helpful, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for future videos, and I'll see you next time.